And guys, welcome to part two of the Rein in Horse Racing Ante Post special. We left you last week with was it two horses each, wasn't it, Bo? One horse to follow each. So we'll
Yeah.
go we'll go this week again with the same. We'll try and pick out a little bit of something different in terms of not just Cheltenham horses. I know Bo's got something for the King George up his sleeve. And yeah, this will be the last one. And then obviously then going forward, we've got Chepstow in a couple of weeks. And some more of our content will be coming forward. Not long to go now, Bo, till Chepstow.
Yeah, no, not long at all. We've obviously got the Arc this weekend, which I think is a fantastic race. It's one of the races that I do really like on the flat. So looking forward to that. And then that sort of signals the end of the flat season, really, I think, when the Arc finishes. So I quite fancy Sosi in that. Got a good draw today. Went off favourite last year. So see if he can do the business at a decent enough price.
There you go. Look, even an Arctic thrown in there as well. What more
Yeah,
can
a
you
bit of
ask
fun.
for
Bit of fun, that bit of fun.
a roll up for a Cheltenham better, a roll up for the National Hunt?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, go on then, mate. Let's crack straight on then. Let's start with your first anti-post bet of this piece.
Yeah, so I suppose this one, it's a little bit of a two for the price of one, I suppose. So I'm going for Gaelic Warrior in the King George. He's currently best price 6 to 1, which with Ladbrokes and Boyles is generally sort of 5 to 1. I think it's a race that has the potential to cut up. At the moment in the betting, it's really difficult to decipher what's going to go here. Before I talk about Gaelic Warrior himself, I just wanted to sort of touch on the market. So Factor File leads the market at 9 to 2. I'd be very dubious as to if he was going to go here. I know the way you're thinking. He's also in here. I'd imagine he'd be kept to Ireland. That would just be my hunch. Hello, Francais. I'd expect to come back here, but I'm not sure he's good enough. The other one I'd be interested in is the Jukebox Man, but obviously he's had an injury. So 6 to 1 Gaelic Warrior. I know people have talked about where he might not run here, and that's very plausible. For me, I've kind of tried to map out his season, and I think he will come here because he doesn't he doesn't seem to like Leopardstown, and I can just see a situation where he was obviously going to come here last year before his injury, and unfortunately he didn't make it. But I think a right-handed track, flat 3 miles, I think he'll absolutely excel at that. And as I said, he doesn't like Leopardstown, which is where his other Christmas options would be. Also, he's been ridden by Paddy a couple of times, and I think 3 times actually, and he's got a good tune out of him. So I can definitely see a world where Paddy gets sent over here on Boxing Day to ride Gaelic Warrior, and I just think they'd want to separate him from Galopin de Champs. For me, I couldn't have in a Gold Cup, so I think they would want to keep them separate and maybe just win Galopin de Champs as many Grade Ones as they can before he retires. Coming on to Gaelic Warrior, I think he's a top class animal. Obviously, last year I was all over him for the Ryanair. I really do think this lad is of this class, and he belongs to be in this group of horses, and he's definitely in the Gold Cup picture. So 6 to 1 here. If you're going to take that, you've got to have a go on the 16 to 1 for the Gold Cup, because if he turns up here and he goes and wins, there's a very good chance he's going to be favourite for the Gold Cup, if not close. So I definitely think that's worth looking at. I think the last two runs at the back end of last season after his injury were very impressive, showed that he's able to act over the trip. It's a weak Gold Cup. I think he's definitely the one to have on side for now.
I agree with you. I think he'll definitely run in the King George. I think looking at some of Willie's horses that he's got there, I think if it's almost trying to give him a little bit of a confidence boost as well, isn't it? Because like you'd
Mm,
imagine it'll probably um, like Kempton as well. I think
I think
with
he
the
really
style of
would.
course
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
And his jumping has improved. There's no two ways
yeah,
around it. His jumping's definitely improved. I think before the Arkle, obviously when he had a bit of a mishap when he raced against Factor File, there was a lot of talk about his jumping. But
yeah.
I thought at Aintree, I thought he jumped really well. He seemed to stay well as well.
And he had
So
Paddy on board.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he,
Yeah,
I thought he was brilliant, and he's got a bit of boot. He won an Arkle. I think that will stand him in good stead running around Kempton. So yeah, I think 6 to 1. Whilst it's not a price that's really going to get you super excited, I think it's a good enough winner. Do you know what I mean?
it's a price that could very easily go into 2 to 1,
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Realistically,
It
very
could be
easily, depending
stupid on the day. Yeah.
on what the options are. Like you said, probably Gallup and Champs ain't going to come here and things like that. They're going to stick to like Savills Chase, I would imagine,
Mm,
over in Ireland. So no, it's a good shot, and as we always say, 6 to 1 Ante Post winner is better than a 33 to 1 loser. So
mm, yeah.
that's where you got to look at it. So my first one, I've gone a little bit left field with two of my choices today for Ante Post, and it is actually purely just based on price alone and what could happen during the season, like all Ante Post bets are. Don't get me wrong. But I've actually gone for a French horse in the Browns called El Clavel. Now El Clavel is a French hurdler, last seen winning the French champion hurdle at Auteuil. He's trained by Neil George and Amanda Zetterholm. My pronunciation is probably fantastic on all these, by the way. Now, I know that he's very high regarded by the trainers. I think he was quoted, I think after the French champion hurdle, as saying that if they've got a Gold Cup horse at home, it's probably going to be this lad, which he's big praise really, considering obviously they've got Ile Francais still there and things like that. Now he started off over 2 mile 2 furlongs last year. He racked up 3 wins and 3 seconds over distances, all the way up to 3 mile 2 furlongs. Now they were all on very soft and heavy ground, which the French very soft and French heavy ground is different to ours. It can be very very boggy over there if it's heavy ground. So it clearly handles soft going. It looked like he appreciated the step up in trip for the French champion hurdle, which is obviously over further rather than ours, which is obviously over 2. It's been, I think, it's been quite well documented that they've always seen him as a chaser, and whatever this year brought would obviously be a huge bonus to them. Now, he's only 5 year old, but he is from the same trainers as Ile Francais, who, as obviously we remember, put in that ridiculous performance in the KO stand, obviously chase at
Yeah.
Christmas that time. But then obviously he did skip Cheltenham, which I imagine people listening to going, yeah, but he didn't run at Cheltenham. Yep, I know, I
Mm,
get that totally. But I just think this horse might be a little bit different. For those that remember, Ile Francais, I know, and you might be correct if I'm wrong here, but it was either the breeder or someone involved in the horse had the heart set on winning a French Gold Cup. I can't remember the
yeah.
backstory, but there is a backstory behind one of the reasons why they wanted to try and stay in France rather than come to Cheltenham like they did this year. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if they want this horse to go on and try and be a Gold Cup horse, if they don't maybe try and roll the dice this year, given the form that he's been in over hurdles, it wouldn't shock me if we see him over a fence at some point in the next maybe month or two over in France. And
Yeah.
I just think at 25 to 1, I think it's a massive price. It's worth having a nibble on. And I do think it's a division that's not really got a lot of strength in depth. I think obviously Final Demand is a clear favourite. I think he's like 11 to 4 now anti-post, which I just don't see how anybody can get involved in an 11 to 4 anti-post for a horse that we've never even seen jump a fence. I think it's insane. And don't get me wrong, it could be an absolute superstar of fences. I'm not saying that it can't be, but I just think 11 to 4 is utterly crazy. I think it's bonkers. And all the other horses that are in and around in the betting, there's nothing to be scared of. So I think this year, more probably than the year when they had Ile Francais, it might be a time that they might roll the dice. And he, like I say, won the French champion hurdle, held in very high regard. And I think if he does come out and win his chasing debut, I think the 25 to 1 could be very nice indeed if you can jump on it early doors.
Yeah, I mean
So,
you can't knock a 25 to 1 shot too much, can you? And it was that Losange Blue that he was racing against a couple of times. He's very well respected in France, so he did manage to get the better of him last time. So yeah, I think 25 to 1. I think it's worth a little nibble up.
yeah, I think Lassage Blue, I think, was the reigning champion, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Obviously in the champion hurdle, and them two have pulled well clear of some other. I don't want to call them yardsticks. That's the wrong word. But obviously within that race, obviously Monmoral was in the race. Hewick was in the race.
It's so
Never really.
difficult to get a gauge on the French form, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
100%. Yeah,
Like that Thelem when everyone was talking. I know he never made it over, but he became a bit of a thing in the stayers market last year, and obviously didn't make it. But that'd been interesting to see. So yeah, it's a difficult one to weigh up.
yeah. No, listen, 100%. I just think for me, if somebody wants to have a play in the Browns market, I
Mm.
think he's probably worth having a little nibble at 25 compared to some of the other horses that you've got in there who could be going either two or three different options. Basically, if this horse comes here, it's going to run in this race. I don't think there's only two ways around it. I'd be absolutely amazed if it ran anywhere else. I don't think they're going to keep it over hurdles. So if you see any prices for the stayers hurdle or anything like that, I would be amazed if they were to throw him in something like that. So I think it's going to be the fences. It'll probably be Cheltenham or nothing. They might even keep him over in France, but I think 25 to 1 is probably worth a poke. So, right, Mel, let's jump over to yours. And what's your second Ante Post selection?
Mine's going to be the yellow clay in the stayers. Um, I think the clay is a very progressive horse, really. I think he's underrated as well from what I can see. He obviously fell last time out at Punchestown Festival, but prior to that, he finished a valiant second to the new line at Cheltenham in the Turners. I thought that was a very good run. I know we were kind of questioning if the new line was a champion hurdle horse, but I think if you've got a horse that's finishing second close up to the champion hurdle favourite, I think they're obviously of a certain class. You've then got the horse in third. Um, he's now favourite for the Browns, a strong favourite. So
Final Demand.
yeah, Final Demand. I was thinking his name. So he's split the pair of them, and yet he's 14 to 1 for the stayers. They've confirmed that he's staying over hurdles. I think the stayers race itself is interesting. The market is interesting to look at. You've got Ballyburn, who's right up there with Tiupu as favourites. Jasmine DeVoe obviously won the Bartlett. You've got your boy you just mentioned, El Clavel there, and then the Yellow Clay. I think it's very interesting. Tiupu obviously didn't do the business last year. Ballyburn's an interesting recruit to the division, but he's not shown any spark. You've got horses in it like Majborough Woodoo that aren't going to go. Bob Bollinger's getting older. East India Dock I really can't see going. Carl Boomga can't see going. Final Demand can't see going. These are all horses just thrown in there that just aren't going to go here. He's 14 to 1. It's going to be his target. Gordon does well with these 3 mile hurdlers. And if you look back through his form, he has actually got very good form. He won the Lawlers and Ace really impressively last year. It was very soft ground that day, but he won it really impressively like a proper stayer. He won a grade 2 and a grade 3 before that. The form of that has worked out well. And before that he was a very decent bumper horse. So I think he's all class. He's only 6. He's going to be open to a lot of improvement. I think for 14 to 1, I think that is a very, very fair price, particularly in a market that is looking a bit sketchy, I would say.
And yeah, and that's one thing I was actually going to mention on this bit of content is I was looking through some of the anti-post the other night. I was actually laid in bed to be fair, but I was looking for all the anti-post markets on Odds Checker and stuff, and there is some markets where there's probably about 5 or 6 horses within the probably top 15 who are just not going to run in that particular race. So be really
Mm,
careful when you're picking out some of these anti-post bets because there's a lot of little red herrings in there thrown in that just never going to run in the races. And like you say, the yellow clay is set for hurdles. This probably will be his target. There's nothing really else for him to go at. So
yeah,
yeah, like you say, but by default, that 14 probably becomes 8 straight away anyway, in my mind.
yeah, exactly. So I think as soon as the season starts, he's going to contract naturally, and he could definitely pick up some races throughout the season because we know Tiupu doesn't run that much. So yeah, I think he's a very solid price and definitely one if you're a book builder like I am, he's definitely one that you're going to need in your book, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that actually um, follows in for my next selection, which again, building books has never really been my sort of thing. I am looking to try and do one this year a little bit. And when I'm looking at horses that I think may slot into certain races, I've fallen on Cargese for the mare's hurdle at 12-1.
Yeah.
Now, I'm convinced this year that Lossiemouth does go to the champion hurdle, which I think that will really open up this division for a starting point. I was convinced last year she was going to go to the mares, but I'm convinced this year she's going to go to the champion hurdle. I think this is the year for him to try it
Yeah, I'm
and
with you
to,
on
to
that.
have a go.
Yeah.
So that then straight away opens up the market, in my opinion. Now, just sort of taking you back on Cargese's back form. Um, I think people forget that she's a very, very talented horse.
Mm,
She ran Sir Gino very close at Aintree in the juvenile race. She got close to Madsborough in a triumph. And then her last race, obviously, she ran a great race behind Golden Ace and Stateman in the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. So she's a proper mare. She's never ever been out of the top two, barring the last race in the Champion Hurdle, Punchestown. And that's been on the back of the County Hurdle win as well at Cheltenham. Now, when I look at the Punchestown form, it's very, very. You'll get some people that like it, some people that don't like it. The biggest thing I like to look out for, if you can, is finding horses that run well at both Cheltenham and Punchestown, and they're the ones that I always
yeah.
think are what I would class as proper horses. And she obviously sits into that bracket for me.
Mm,
Now, I just think she's way too big of a price considering that she still seems to be improving, and there is a possibility because she can race quite keenly. But because she's getting a little bit older, that could help her relax a little bit more. A bit similar to what Lossiemouth was. Um, she'll definitely get further than 2 miles. I think she'll the 2 mile 4 furlong for the mares hurdle. There'll be absolutely no problem at all. Um, do they go chasing with Jade de Grugier? I don't know. She's the older of the Alexander horses. Not saying she's going to do, but that might be a question mark for her rather than Cargese. I don't think Cargese will go that route 100%. I think she'll stay over hurdles. And
mm.
she just comes across to me like she's a horse that is constantly improving, still improving. I think she's more than capable of being in the mix in this type of race at the festival. And also, as well, we've seen so many of Willie Mullins' horses in the past coming off the back of a big handicap win, like the County or like the Martin Pipe or something like that, that go on to become very good graded horses. So I think there's a lot of plus points to her. And I actually think the Mayor's Hurdle this year, minus Lossiemouth, will be a very competitive race. So this isn't me saying lump on at 12, but I just think that she will hold her own. And I'd be absolutely amazed that if she rocked up there in March, that she's going to be sat there at 12-1. I think she'll be a lot lower than that. And I think she's got a hell of a chance in that sort of race because they'll go a decent clip. I think it'll help her. And I do think she's got a good bit of class to really sort of stamp a mark on it.
Yeah, she's definitely a classy mare. I would have question marks about her staying the trip. I'm kind of on the fence on it though because on one hand she is very fizzy. She looks like she's just a 2 miler through and through. But then you look back through the form and that day that she finished second to Masborough was on heavy ground at Cheltenham. And they do say anyway that Triumph horses are stayers for the future. So, you've got that lingering in your mind. So maybe when she does go up in trip, that'll be good for her.
Well, if I
But
remember as rightly, boy, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when I look back at that Madsborough triumph as well, them two did sort of pull away a little bit. It was a
yeah, yeah,
completely obliterated field as well. Do you know what I mean? They got well strung out. And
yeah, yeah.
obviously
No,
she's
they no,
managed
they were definitely.
yeah, she's managed to sort of stay with Madsborough, who arguably you can say is Frank the form throughout
Oh yeah,
this,
yeah,
yeah,
for sure,
throughout what he's done
definitely.
as well.
He's definitely a top class horse. I remember being when I was at Cheltenham the county day last year. There was like a. It sounds weird to say, but there was like a sense in the air that she was just going to win the county, and I
Yeah.
think I'd had a small bet on a Ante Post, but it just felt like everything was the ducks were in a row, and she was just going to go and win, and she did win very well, I thought.
Well, I think
And
I think Paul
I
Townend said
think
that he probably got there a bit too soon as well, didn't he? I think he probably wanted a bit more cover for her as well.
I feel like they just kind of knew that she was very well in. I mean, she obviously went off favourite. Can't remember if she was backed into favourite, but It just seemed like everyone I was speaking to was talking about her in the county.
Yeah.
I think she's a top class mare. So yeah, 12 to 1. Again, it's a big price in a race like a mare's, to be honest, because you do normally quite often have short prices and smaller fields in that race. So yeah,
And as well, obviously, Ken Alexander don't mind racing two in the same race either, does he? So there's
no,
no just because Jedi Gruge is still around, don't mean that she's not going to run in it either. So
yeah.
right, okay, then mate, on to our horses to follow. So who is your second horse to follow from our anti-post content?
My horse to follow is Maya Town, who won the Ultima. He won it off 127, and if you backed him that day, um, I don't think you had a moment's worry. He just went out, and I don't actually think you'll see an easier winner of a handicap,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
particularly at something like the Cheltenham Festival. Ran off 127, as I said, got put up to 142, so it's a considerable hike. We haven't seen him since. He was running in much sort of lower grade races before that. Um, Lucinda had talked about the fact that she needed to get his jumping right, but she basically said if his jumping comes right, then he's going to be a superstar, which he showed. And the changing man, I think in second ran a very good race. He's a very decent horse, had a very good season last year. So I've been looking at he's a horse to follow. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know what the plan would be, but if he was mine, it would be the bet not the Betfair Chase, the Coral Trophy. It's now called, isn't it? The Hennessy, is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah,
Coral
yeah, something
Trophy.
like that. Yeah,
So I'd go to the Coral Trophy, try and get a few more pounds onto his rating, and then head him to the national. He probably needs. I mean, last year 145 got into the national, so 142. He'd need a few more pounds, maybe a couple more for safety. I think that would be what my season would be planned around. I'm not sure what price he is for the national, but to me, I think he's very much not shown his hand yet, and there's more to come from him. In his race after the in the interview afterwards, Lucinda was name dropping. I can't remember what his bloody name is. The winner, who was her last national winner? You don't know.
oh, yeah, the one that won at Cheltenham a couple of times, wasn't it?
Yeah, won the Ultimate twice.
Come third in Gold Cup. Sorry,
Yeah.
won it. Oh my lord, how on earth do we get involved in racing stuff and can't remember a Grand National winner?
I'll tell you what, my mind is just
Oh my lord,
Korak Rambler. That's it.
Cora
It's
Rambler, of
come back
course.
to me. It's come back to me. Yeah. So she name dropped Korak
How
Rambler.
embarrassing is that, by the way?
She said he's yeah, very embarrassing. She
I'm not even going
said
to cut it out either. Leave it
he's a different type of horse, but this is a phenomenal horse, is what she said about Martown. So I think that would be the plan for the season, and I think he's definitely one to follow. You'd love to own him, and he's going to be a lot of fun this season, I'd assume.
Good shout, good pick. Well, my original pick for this, I was hoping by this point we might have had a little bit of an update, and if we have, and I've missed it, then I can only apologise to people. But I will tell you who it was. It was the horse that finished fourth in the Albert Bartlett. It was Yellow Car, who Harry Redknapp bought prior to the festival. Finished fourth, obviously behind Jasmine DeVoe, big Westerner, and what's the other one? Dell, is it? Something Paddy, isn't it? The other one that's quite well touted as well for us for the staying chasing races this season. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I was hoping Yellow Car might have been one of those that went under the radar a little bit for the big 3 mile handicaps, maybe. I think the further better for him. He seems to really excel in the staying races. He's like one of those little irritating horses that just don't go away. And just keeps going. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed he's okay. Like I said, I haven't seen any updates. I think there was an update that came out straight after the festival saying that he was getting treated for an overreach. So hopefully he does come back. And if he does come back, he definitely wants to stick in your tracker. So have that one as a cheap little freebie. So I was in a little bit of a rush to try and find my other horses to follow because I didn't want to be too obvious with just a Willie Mullins horse all the time, but I'll come across another Willie Mullins horse, so I might as well tell you about it. Um, so another one that's sort of sat on my list which obviously I'll share with you, is it's a point-to-point horse called Arcadian Emperor. Now, JP bought this horse privately after it won its point-to-point. Quite impressive, that's by it's about 6-7 lengths, I think it was, for Sam Curlin. Now, if you watch the race back, which obviously I'll put on here now as we're talking, showed plenty of gears. Started out at the back, sort of worked its way through. Just, I know sometimes point to point horses you can watch, you can look and you go, oh well, I don't really know what that form means. I don't really know what it's beat. I more try and look at how the horse has got through the race a little bit, and how it's sort of gone through the gears, how it's moved, how it's reacted to the jockey. And don't get me wrong, there was a little bit of greenness and a little bit of immaturity. I mean, he's only a 4-year-old, but he got back on the bridle quickly and he won very, very convincingly. Now, with him being a 4-year-old, I would probably imagine he'll be sticking to bumpers this coming season. I mean, that's pretty much guaranteed. And I'm sure between now and whenever that may be, there'll be plenty of firepower coming out from Willie in the bumpers and stuff like that. But I think whatever you see this horse do first time out on debut, I think he'll come on for it tenfold. So I won't be put off by watching him out on his debut, but whatever he does, I think will be a massive boost for his next run. Now, if you are interested in playing the long game with some of these point to point and bumper horses, he's 25 to 1 for the Cheltenham bumper at this moment in time. Now, a JP bumper horse that's coming with a good reputation that might win first time out, and imagine he probably will win first time out, it probably won't last long at 25 to 1. So for those of you that do, like say, try and collect your books for the different races and stuff like that, and you like to play a few early doors to champion bumper, I won't put you off this lad, because, like I say, for a 4-year-old to win the way that he did after being a little bit green and showing the maturity, he did it very, very well. So that would be my little horse to follow. And like I say, if you are interested in getting in early, he is 25 to 1 for the Cheltenham bumper in March.
Have
So
you seriously just tipped a bumper horse in
no, I
the
didn't.
first
No,
week of
no, no,
October?
no, no, no,
Because
no.
that definitely sounded like a
No,
tip.
it didn't. No, I said if you are interested in
Okay,
putting it
that
on
sounded
your
like a
book.
tip.
No, 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 no. It's only a
You'll
tip
get
now if it
crucified.
wins. No, if it
You'll get
wins,
crucified for that.
yes. But if it comes out wins first time up by about 12 lengths and it becomes
Then you'll
favourite
claim it was
champion
a tip.
bumper, then I'm going to say it was a tip. So I've
Okay.
sort of covered my own backside a little bit there and made sure
Right.
that I've thrown the name in,
Yeah.
and I can always revert back to it next time.
Yeah. Just
To
going
keep him
back
up.
to the yellow car, I think he would be an ideal sort of candidate for the new National Hunt Chase that is now a handicap. I'd definitely be having my eyes on that if I was in charge there.
Yeah, like I say, it's a real shame that there's been no update really on him. I'm going to keep my eye open. He's in my little at the races tracker of whatever you want to call it, just so I can
Well, you know,
find out when he is.
get the
But he,
arc out the way. Get the arc out the way, and then all the National Hunt stuff starts coming out. Have you had a
yeah,
bet in the arc? Are you going to tell the viewers about your bets in the arc, or?
no, I ain't had a betting arc, mate. No, no,
Mm,
I actually don't even know who's running. I don't even know who's favourite.
no,
Um,
fair enough. As honest as
I,
the day is long.
yeah, that's about it. That's about it for me, mate. I'm not really that interested in arc. I'm going to be honest with you. I know a
Okay.
lot of people like. I know a lot of people do like it though. I know
It's
a
a
lot of
great
people
race
do
course.
like
If
it.
anybody gets the chance to go, they should definitely go. It's a brilliant race course.
Sean Tally's on my list, by the way. While we're talking about
Yes,
places to go,
yeah, yeah. I would love to go there. That's where they have the French Derby, isn't it? That'd be a
yeah,
good day to go to.
that looks one hell of a race course. To be fair, does that?
I think that's in May. Oh, we should have a rain-in trip over.
Yeah, but then saying that, I'll just end up at Wetherby or something. To be fair, and you'll end up you end up in Worcester or something like that.
Warwick, actually, Warwick or Stratford. That'd be closest.
Warwick for the Kingmaker. That's where we'll go. Warwick for
Oh,
the
perfect.
Kingmaker. Where's your next racing trip then for you? Where are you at
Well,
next? Are you going to Chepstow?
no, I'm not at Chepstow. I'm away for Chepstow this year, unfortunately. But that is another great race course. So we should definitely go and check that out. I'll probably be October Cheltenham. To be honest, is probably my next one.
Over Cheltenham. Is
What
that
about you?
the opening meeting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the first meeting of the season.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
What about
Very
you?
good. I don't know, to be fair. I was thinking about going to Charlie Hall at Wetherby on 1st November.
Mm,
I actually fancied Stage Star for that, funnily enough, because I know it got mooted that it might be going there, but obviously, unfortunately, being retired now.
yeah,
I've seen.
that's because you backed it.
It's because I was going to back
You're
him, yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually back him. Luckily, there was no market up. But yeah, that's always a good meeting. Those that are in and around Yorkshire, Weatherby's a really good track. Really good on Boxing Day as well, to be fair. But I am half
nice.
tempted to have a look at the King George this year. I do want to go down
Oh,
to the King.
really?
I've never been. I've never been. It's a
Yeah.
long way for me to travel.
Well, they're
But I
supposedly
might.
closing their doors, aren't they? At some
Well,
point.
yeah. Was that not the rumor a couple of years ago, a year ago,
I don't
whatever it
know.
was, wasn't it?
Well, we should go. We should go and support it, I suppose.
Well, I
That's
mean,
far for you.
if they know where going, mate, then I'm sure they'll keep the doors open. So. Right then, mate. Catch up
That's
with
the
you
opposite.
shortly. We'll come back to you guys probably in a couple of weeks' time as we get closer to Chepstow and stuff like that. So make sure you're following us, subscribing, and we'll come back to you very, very soon.
Nice one.